That's why you have to put pictures in your slideshow. D is for dialogue, so make it appropriate. By appropriate, I don't mean age appropriate. I suppose if you're writing like a PG story, then yeah, you can make it appropriate. By appropriate, I mean it needs to fit what the characters do. Like the characters would actually say this, they actually think this way, they actually talk this way. Another technique I give people is say your own dialogue out loud and ask yourself, would somebody actually say this? Well, I think a lot of fanfiction writers, they proofread what they wrote, but they don't read their stories out loud.
They don't read it.
Yeah. Read your stories out loud, especially your dialogue, because sometimes when you actually say something that you're claiming somebody says, you're like, oh my god, no, that sounds... No human being would talk this way. Not much of it. And of course, how much is enough? I actually don't have the answer to that question. It actually depends on your style. A lot of people's writings are very dialogue driven. A lot of people's are very scene driven or action driven or exposition driven. And you really need to find your balance of how much dialogue you need to fit into your exposition and your action and what's going on. Yeah, and also
you're setting a tone. Like you're having a comedic tone, you're having a dark tone.
Yeah. One thing I definitely will speak strongly about is dialogue tags.
Oh boy.
Fuck dialogue tags. Get rid of them. Get them out of it. He said, she said, he replied, she replied, she pondered, he exemplified. Wow. Screw. A lot of people will say, oh, you just need to get rid of he said, she said, and open a thesaurus and learn how to find other words. No, get rid of them. You actually don't need them. After more than 3 things have been said in your story, your characters develop a voice. And you no longer need to directly tell your audience, like a screenplay, weird. You don't need to longer need to tell your audience who is talking. You can tell who's talking by what's going on.
And also by like the style of their speech.
That's what I mean by their voice. There's 3 characters in the room talking at one point, and I know exactly what each of them are saying. So like if the 3 people in the room are Naruto, Derpy Hooves,
and Jeff
Kurosaki.
Yes.
If one character says I love muffins. I wish we could go find some muffins freshly baked. You know, you really don't need to tell your audience that Derpy Hooves said that. You just be like a character said that, and then have the story keep going. Get rid of the dialogue unless you absolutely have to, unless there really is some kind of confusion otherwise.
Yeah.
And you know what'll happen? You'll feel so exposed. The first time I did it, when it was recommended to me, I got rid of all the dialogue tags, and I'm like, it's gonna be confusing. No one's gonna know what's going on. And I had someone read the story and said, tell me if you know what's going on. And they're like, yeah. I knew everything that was going on. I knew who said what and what source it came from. Not a single he said, she said on the entire page. Like it really is a wonderful, liberating feeling to get away from dialogue tags because they just destroy your flow. They just like stick out like sore thumbs to me on the page. They just stare at me, and it's like I'm reading a really great story. Instead of you said it's just like, and then they went down to the bank and fuck you, and then I think this is a bad idea, Sam. Fuck you. Oh yeah, well we really have to do this because boss said fuck you. Every time I see a dialogue, I don't see he said, I see fuck you.
I see you read
the universe.
I see you read the DMC script.
So there's no confusion, is there?
Oh no. So we talked earlier about characters. I was implying earlier that you need to not change the characters. Whatever the existing characters are in the universe, you absolutely have to keep them like that when you begin. This is probably one of those important ones I'm making the whole time, Theo. Something you'd like to share with the class? Guardian Leviosa.
You are starting with somebody else's characters and somebody else's work, so you need to start with that. If you want Snape to be a lecherous bastard, if you want Snape to be that in your story, you have to start with the Snape that's in the material. And develop what brings them down that road to become that. Now that would be a very.
In other words, don't write fluff from the get-go.
Stupid like medics.
Oh, here we go.
more. How they secretly love
This
it.
is
fucking forever.
We won't know without like Ichigo and Renji. Come on, guys.
So the exact same thing with characters. You have to treat ships the same way. Ships are just like characters. You have to meaning you have to start with what's established in the material. If you want to get two people or two whatever species, depending on the material, if you Mass Effect, if you want to get two whatevers, if you want two whatevers to get together, and they're not already together in the original story, then you have to develop that. Ships need an arc, just like characters need an arc. If you want to change a character, you create a story arc that shows that character change. If you want a ship to come together, a pairing to come together, you need to create an arc that makes that pairing come together and treat it the same way you would treat a character.
Tension is compelling. This has to be a threat of failure.
I have literally started fanfics that I'm like, oh, this is a really good writer. Like I like their style, and I'll read it for a while, and I'll see two characters come onto the page, and they're talking, and first opportunity they get together, and I close the fanfiction. Done. Because it was too quick. I don't care. I didn't want that ship, and maybe I wasn't totally opposed to it, or maybe I was opposed to it, but it just happened so fast. It didn't work. It wasn't explained. It took me out of the universe. Take your time. Like teasing and implying is so effective with shipping. Is you take two characters and you put them in situations. But even if they hate each other or whatever, and sometimes it's better if they hate each other, you put them in a situation where they have to work together, they have to go through something together, and you create the opportunity. You create the opportunity for these two characters to get closer, and maybe possibly something can happen. Absolutely, every single time, just like in baseball, when coach says take the first pitch, and wow, I bet nobody got that reference. Unless anyone who didn't play Little League didn't get it. You never take the first opportunity to bring a ship together. You show like, oh look, I've established that this could happen. This could happen right now. It doesn't. And you keep going. Never take the first opportunity to bring a ship together, even if it seems like an appropriate moment. Tease the audience. Get it to the point where the audience reading your story is going, come on! They totally should be together at this point. That's how you sell it. You can take people. You can start with a story and have readers that are diametrically opposed to the pairing that you want. But you create the atmosphere, and you create this. You put the scenes and the situation together where it gets to the point to where the audience really wants that pairing to happen. And for as long as you could possibly hold out, you do not give the readers the satisfaction.
Yeah, like props with anal and then give them vaginal.
And then make this.
But never go ask out.
Never go ask out.
There's doors right there. I need an adult. Well, there you go.
Keep in mind, everything I just said, take everything I just said and add a nice little but. Everything I just said, but
A big but.
the crazier your pairing is, the more difficult establishing that arc is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You're in love, damn it.
I don't think
Game of Thrones would be a pamphlet before this
I don't think a $60,000 epic could ever make this happen. Like it just sometimes it's just not going to work out. Okay. So let's talk about fanfiction styles. Have some style. It's important. Emulating versus copying. You need to understand that you're not J.K. Rowling. I'm sorry. You're not going to capture the exact same tone of her universe and the way that she writes. And that doesn't make J.K. Rowling above anyone else. That just means it goes for any author. You're not going to write the exact same way that another author writes, no matter how badly you want to emulate what they do. You're going to have your own voice and your own style, and you need to express that. You need to figure out what yours is. Just how I was talking about figuring out what's your good mix of dialogue, exposition, and story, and things that go on. That's part of what your style is.
And if you find something you're good at, by all means, try to base your style around that.
Oh yeah.
So if you're good at the dialogue, or if you're better at
I'm deep. I write grimdark stories because I'm deep.
Edgy grim deep.
When you mean deep.
And so your style might be very different than the original material, and that's fine. You can go into any style you want, but you're going to have to now make that universe fit your style. Remember how I said you have to start with the source material? Mm-hmm.
So if you want to write like a grimdark My Little Pony fiction, you're gonna have to start with the tone of the show and
Bubbly, fluffy hair Pinky and how she
bring it darker.
how she goes into going into the shed.
Joker is talking story Fluffy. Except the Fire Nation.
Until one day, he took an errand to the knee with the Fire Nation. That's how we got.
But a lot of people saw the story by writing their own,
Yeah.
and some of it got accepted into the original canon. So the same thing with Peter Pan. Everything that came after the original.
The dream of all fan fiction writers.
Everything that came after the
Being
original
accepted by the canon.
Yes.
was basically fan fiction. But it was so well done, people decided to accept it into the same story.
Exactly. And on a related note, the Star Wars books. I knew that would piss off a few people.
So it's like you want to jump out your own? He was waiting for this. Oh no.
I actually on the process.
Lucas. I know it's not really fan fiction. I said that to piss people off because I love this. Anyway, speaking of creating your own style, if you find that your material is far enough removed from the original, make it your. Change all the names. Oh, cool. I want to write a Naruto story in space, and I want all the ninjas to be part of like a Marine squad, and they have to fight all these aliens and all this stuff. I'm like, listen, stop. I have talked to this human being before, this person, the story. I'm like, listen. There's nothing wrong with your story idea. Your story idea is fine, but here's what you need to do. Take all of those character designs, all of those aspects of the Naruto characters that you really like, all of those relationship aspects and stuff like that. Keep all those things. Keep the storyline and what you want to do the same. Change all the names and change the title. Change the character names. Change what they look like and change the title and make it your own story. But that's ripping off. No, it's not. You are emulating. Emulating is not the same as copying. Being inspired by something is not stealing. Everyone is inspired by something. If you're writing Naruto in space as Marines, fighting aliens, you are no longer writing a Naruto fanfiction. You are writing a completely different story.
You're writing Gintama at this point.
But Gintama is everything. That's not fair.
Once again, different rules for parody.
You bring that thing here.
I've literally told people this, that like people who write fanfiction, I've said, well, you're so far removed, why don't you just change all the names and make this your original story and then try to sell it? And their eyes just light up. Are you a wizard? What?
Exactly that. It's actually fan fiction on the Twilight series.
Yeah, but that's really smart.
Exactly, but that's a bad example.
It's a bad example.
That's the same thing, but it's a bad example.
Exactly, but you're still using it as a simple example. I mean,
And now she is
you
all
take
money.
the original story that already kind of sucked. You take that and they're inspired by this.
And then you made something that.
And you make it completely.
profit.
That's how I made a lot of my original stories. A lot of my original stories have started as fan fiction or something else, and then I realized that I had something different. So I went in and made it different, but I was inspired by the story. Oh my gosh, these guys can tell you how much Robotech is in my original story. So much
Starship Troopers.
So much Robotech and Starship Troopers shows up in it. Right. But instead of writing Robotech and Starship Troopers fan fiction, I just write these stories. So what do we got? Yay! Discard! What I'm about to show you, don't judge too harshly because this could be you.
My body is right.
Oh my God!
Oh God, why?
I'm so sorry.
If she would have promised, you know.
Yeah.
Let's take this down.
What he said.
I can't escape.
I did hit escape. I'm going to hit escape again.
We're done.
We are not done.
Oh no!
Yes, now we're going to show you examples of that.
I'm going to website titles in. Oh, speaking of fan fiction.
All fan fiction.
We're actually going to the site, Joe.
We're looking for bad. I'm going straight to the source of bad fan fiction. Not that there's not good fan fiction or fan fiction. There's just an ocean of this.
They're the tiny floating pieces of golden timber amongst the ocean of
What
pits.
shall we do, folks? Let's go to crossovers.
Look up Sonitude.
Naruto. What shall we cross Naruto with?
How about Bleach? They have Twilight?
So did kids.
Get back, guys. Volume the volume. Somebody stole my idea.
I'm going. Goodbye, world. I didn't think it was possible, but
It's a good thing they locked the windows.
You know what? I'm working. Yo.
Slash copy. I almost said warehouse.
Okay, we're just gonna go with the first one. Alice's rain cloud arrives in the form of Bella's shield. Free from Jasper's manipulations, her only reprieve comes from the sudden appearance of a blonde ninja. As feelings she thought she had for another develops for the displaced Nin. Oh, no, you can spell check in this one. This ought to be good. Starting at the end of Breaking Dawn. Author notes, OBO. Disclaimer, I own nothing besides the plot. Really?
Yeah!
I thought you came up with Naruto and Twilight.
Me too.
This was yours. Okay.
Me too. It would make a great movie.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, guys.
Alright, here we go. Alice's face scrunches in distress. Inside Bella's protective bubble shield, the hand. Does she really have a bubble shield?
Sonic fanfic. Awesome. No, it's Pokemon. You're
She
good.
doesn't.
I know even my brother, I know that.
I only know a little bit about Twilight, so that was made up. That's not real.
No, it's not real.
I never even allergic to
Okay, inside Bella's protective bubble shield, the hand clenching almost painfully around her felt wrong. Thank you, William Shatner. She glanced up at Jasper, taking in all the scars that littered his body. What she once taught tragically. Thought. What she once thought tragically.
That was dumb.
Beautiful.
Sounds like something.
What she once taught tragically beautiful turned into an unsettling reminder of what syntax is. Of what he used to do and what he's able to do. Manipulate people to his cause.
This is why you reread your shit.
Read it out loud. That was like 12 slides ago. Read your dialogue and your stories out loud.
High school.
Her lips settled for a grim line. Her lips settled on the grim line. Fingers clenched and unclenched of her supposed mate's hand. So what? They're just doing this? They're just doing this? I don't know.
How is that even possible?
Could she have been wrong all those years ago? Her visions led to Jasper and they fell in love. But instead of a pure love and adoration she felt whenever she looked at him before, now she merely felt. That seems to make sense. But instead of pure love and adoration she felt whenever she looked at him before, too many words, now she merely felt what?
Something forced.
And something forced. Okay, see, we're two paragraphs in. We're two paragraphs that are actually one paragraph. She shouldn't have split those up.
Yeah.
I see people do that. They try to make their paragraphs small so it doesn't look, so that the chunks don't look as intimidating.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I've cheated and made really small paragraphs,
But
so
it's
it looks easier to read.
Yeah.
But basically, these two paragraphs in, we're already getting too much exposition and not a lot happening. You guys are seeing the elements we discussed earlier. Okay.
And also you see someone that's allergic to commas.
I know.
Oh my gosh, allergic to commas and too many commas. By the way,
Too many comments.
I haven't come across one yet. But I just want to let you guys know that semicolons only exist to prove you went to college. Don't ever use a semicolon. You don't need them. Yes, there is a correct way to use them, but you can always do it a different way.
Yeah.
Semicolon sentences really don't. They mess with flow. Just
really
do a normal precedent antecedent clause or whatever with just normal comma, normal Oxford commas are fine. Okay.
That key is.
Yes. Okay.
This is pretty hard.
Okay, semicolons are up there with the rules of who and whom. You just occasionally use it, and nobody will call you out on it because no one else knows the rules either.
Radical.
I think Lonely Island did a song on it.
Probably. Her
I
mind,
believe that.
her mind scrambled for reasons as to why this was. One hypothesis was that the Vulturi's Chelsea.
One hypothesis.
Why not?
Cookies.
I'm still lost
She's
on
still
that.
testing this idea.
Fiddling with their bonds. I think she wrote this on her phone. Fiddling with their bonds, but Bella's shield was impenetrable to powers affecting the mind. There was.
Waiting for that sexy no
See,
jutsu.
okay, this is I know Show Don't Tell was up there somewhere. I don't remember what slide it was. Show Don't Tell. Bubble shield. Bubble shield. Bella's bubble shield
That sounds so wrong.
Cloud, by the way.
Bella's bubble shield is immune to mind-altering effects. Now you can have a sentence that says Bella's bubble shield is immune to mind-altering effects, or you can have a sequence where somebody tries to cast a mind-altering effect and it fails to Bella's bubble shield. That's called showing, not telling. Telling is basically when you use too much direct exposition and you're not using story. You can use story to exposit. Hey, that's another thing we went over earlier.
I will eat a sandwich.
The heady scent of blood assaulted her senses, and her eyes snapped to the cleaning, widening at the ever-growing black thing that made its random appearance in the galaxy. Did this say 18 and up?
I don't know. Is it M-rated? No, it's T.
It's
It's T-rated. Remember.
And then they kissed.
You two are freaking.
I think we tortured our good audience all about this.
Anthony.
Want to try another one? Okay, do you guys want to try another one? You want to go on to this?
Foster's Home for Men.
Another one.
Foster's and League of Legends.
No, please.
Oh, I do remember on League of Legends. Yeah.
Foster's Elite. Foster's Elite. Okay, Foster's.
Barely on there.
Foster's Home for Men.
Oh, wait, hang on. That's just straight Foster's.
Did I just see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wait, that's not.
That's why you get a crossover.
Shut up. Crossovers.
God, it's bad.
Oh, I think there's like a bunch of.
There is no Fosters.
You can read
Okay, Powerpuff Girls then.
Okay, Powerpuff Girls.
Come on, man. Wait, Powerpuff and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Go. Powerpuff Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Go.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Is that with a J?
Darkwing Duck.
Doctor Who.
What? Giant Whale.
We found Foster's. We found Foster's. Digimon?
Yeah.
Where's Digimon?
It's right there on their miscellaneous books and Family Guy.
There's exactly one.
Oh my God.
Exactly one.
Anthony.
Wait.
Anthony.
Panel.
Yeah.
We can't take you
No,
anywhere.
the elevator panel's great. Good job.
Okay, now
No, wait, that's crossover just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
Yes,
Oh
you were
God,
there.
it's real.
The dice roll.
hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh, you want to
We're going to DeviantArt. Wait, guys, look at Mego Hybrid.
Oh, God.
Mego Hybrid. You will have the best time.
Now you're pulling the right trigger. Special place.
We have 4 minutes. See you in 4 minutes. All right, we're almost out of time. We're going to try to jump to an example of what we found to be fairly good fanfiction. If you can find it.
Where's Brody Furious?
Oh, his name is Oni.
Where? All right. Search.
Hang on. There's no, that doesn't work. You can't find artists doing that. Welcome to
Jeez, I thought you could find this.
Oh my God, I hate you. I'm gonna duck him. Oh, the hate. Oh my
Okay, that's
God.
just pictures and. Okay.
Okay, this actually came out. Has anyone here heard of Brony Curious?
No.
Okay. I have.
Sadly, I love Brony Curious.
It's as bad as you think it is.
I'm scared.
It is as scary as you think it is.
Oh, God.
Wait, are we thinking?
The first sentence alone will tell you exactly. I never did it like the idea of having fun.
Oh, God.
Okay, I'm done. Alright, can you make it so we don't have to do that? I'm gonna put
How long is it? Very long.
Read an excerpt. There you go. No, you must look at it. What?
Look some of it. Okay, so yeah. So this fan fiction is going to get kind of gross in the later chapters. So I'm just reading. I just wanted a good example of exposition. So I'm only going to read like the opening part where he exposits. Okay, so here he goes. I never. This is. Oh, by the way, this is a My Little Pony fan fiction.
Guys, all right.
Here we go. I never did like the idea of having foals. The entire song and dance always seemed like such a burden. Foals are noisy, needy, expensive, able to siphon away your entire life savings just by providing them the essentials. Estimates of 6-figure costs over the course of their lives, locking you into a lifelong wage of slavery that never directly benefits you. How any pony could willingly accept to shoulder such a burden has always been beyond me.
I'm certainly not a pony with any resembling outlandish ambition, but I can't even shake the feeling that a foal would severely cut into my free time and hamper what meager productive activities I try to cultivate. Being a regular Sugar Cube Corner, I've been blessed with the crystal clear perspective on just what these little bundles of joy do to a pony that actually tries to do something worthwhile with their lives. I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt for poor Mr. and Mrs. Cake every time I walked through the doors for my morning cup of joe. You could watch as the vitality was sapped from them in real time as they sacrificed all that they once were
in order to
give their children the best they had to offer. The added strain of bearing the weight of 2 more lives eerily apparent on their faces. Even in the short time I've been in Ponyville, they just seem to be so much more worn than when we first met, as if the years had finally caught up with them. The sleepless nights and stressful days marring their complexion with fine wrinkles and permanent bags under their eyes. Battle scars of a conflict yet to bear fruit. The twins were just as needy as ever. Their lives were over now. No longer were they true individuals, but merely vessels to attempt to usher forth a better generation. Their lives for their spawn. It was lucky for them that they had started their business when they did, and had Pinky to keep it afloat in light of their current obligations, and the Bonbons seemed to have no interest in encroaching onto their pastry niche. Their dreams would have crumbled otherwise. I could never burden myself with that. Foals are a hassle, a handful, a ball and chain around your hind leg, the end of a stallion's freedom. Not for me. Okay, so that entire sequence was just opening exposition.
Yeah.
And here's what happened in that opening exposition. I think it went on a little longer than it needed to. However, he definitely could shorten that up. But here's what it did. It established the main character without even telling us his name. Didn't even tell us the main character's name. It told us a lot about the main character. It talked about his desires in life and his perspective. And it also gave you a really good insight onto something else in the universe. And that's the way he described Mr. and Mrs. Cake, you know, and their feelings about children. Now the story is going to go on. Obviously, he's going to meet he's going to meet someone and obviously have an attachment to kids after this. Probably not in a good way. This is probably going to get really bad. Further down the line, DeviantArt. Yes, but it is DeviantArt after all. This is an example of doing multiple things with your exposition instead of just doing something all at once. Kiyo has a sour look on his face.
It's just, okay, where do I even
I'm just talking about the exposition. I'm not talking about underage.
No, I know. It's just. I'm sorry. Part of my head is just like, why does this exist? And then at the same time, I'm like, I shouldn't be surprised.
It shouldn't exist, but it's one of the better examples of exposition
right.
you can find on short.
Rule 34. I know.
Don't worry, guys.
There's a reason I didn't continue reading after that.
Okay.
There's a reason we stopped.
But no, it is actually a good example.
Because I don't think we have a bucket big enough for my
longer than it
If we
needs.
did, keep going.
Rule 63.
Let's do one more bad example because those are more fun.
My Immortal.
My Immortal?
Anthony.
Let's go. Come on.
No, don't worry about it.
Come on, man, please.
I'm the next panel. There's no overtime.
Yeah, that's
Come on, man.
Later chapters though, because I feel like the later chapters.
Of what show?
Well, because he has a line outside.
Please, Dr. Who, man.
And I play my Immortal.
Anthony.
I'm gonna wait by your Immortal.
Oh, no, I don't look at mine. All right, let's go back to anime manga.
Okay.
So, what other...
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Lucky second. Dragon Ball Z.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is Sailor Moon.
Oh my god.
If you liked us, yes.
Okay, Sailor Moon and Sonic the Hedgehog it is.
Oh my God, it exists.
Of course it exists. Which one?
This is the internet. Sonic and Amy, love at first sight.
Sonic saves Amy from an attack on Tokyo by Dr. Eggman.
Sonic and Ami, excuse me.
Oh God.
Sailor Moon. Oh God.
I just exposed myself as a Nintendo kid.
No.
Okay, saves Ami from an attack on Tokyo by Dr. Eggman. The moment Sonic and Ami met, whether they knew it or not, this was the beginning of a dark and beautiful relationship. Where's the Sailor Moon?
Prequel to Sonic Mania.
Sailor Moon. Oh god.